You're listening to the Quit Your Job and Get Creative podcast, where we talk about quitting your unfulfilling job and pursuing your creative entrepreneurial dreams. My goal is to help you realize earning a living doing what you love is possible for you. You'll hear stories of women who have quit their 9-to-5 jobs and started their creative businesses. You'll learn how they did it, the ups and downs, and secrets to success. I believe that you are good enough and capable to live out your dreams. I'm your host, Jocelyn Clarkson. Now, let's get started. Hi guys, I am so excited for today's podcast because I have a really special guest that flew in from LA, and she's here with me to talk to you about how she created a course. Brittany Diego is a fashion stylist and fashion styling coach based out of LA. She has worked with celebrity stylists like Draya Michele, Lori Harvey, and Trevor Jackson, and so many more. She has been nominated for Forbes' Next 1000, which highlights entrepreneurs that have changed the American dream. Today, she's going to be talking about why she started a course and how you can create a course too. Welcome so much, Brittany. I'm so excited to have you here. And thank you so much for coming down all the way from LA. You were in town in Chicago. And I'm just so glad I'm able to get you here in the recording studio and meet you in person.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
I'm excited.
Thank you so much. And, I want to talk to you, I want to talk to the listeners about how we met. So I just think it's so funny. And I think this podcast is amazing because I'm able to really connect with women, but also bring the voices of women all over the country and just like really create a platform, like a centralized platform where our listeners can hear the stories of creatives like you. And you're based out of LA. So I actually reached out to you on LinkedIn and, you told me that you were going to be visiting Chicago. So it was just awesome that we were able to make this happen, that you're here, because otherwise, we would have never met. Which is like kind of crazy. It's funny. Yeah, we were messaging just a week ago and now she's sitting right here in front of me. So welcome. So thank you so much, Brittany, for being open to coming here. And thank you for like being here and sharing your story.
Of course.
Awesome.
A pleasure. And I was so excited that we connected via LinkedIn. And now it's just crazy. Like you said, a week ago we were messaging and now we're here.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm so excited to have you here. And the way I like to start this, and I know we're going to touch on the course, how you started that. But first, the way I like to start these interviews is I want to know, what did you want to do when you were a young girl?
So I literally only wanted to ever do fashion my entire life. So I remember specifically, I was 10 years old. I was a Girl Scout, and we had this project to get the badge to sew. And that was my first introduction into fashion. I've always been very
so
creative.
Cool. Okay.
I wanted to be an animator. I was always drawing.
Yeah.
And it just kind of led me on that path to discovering fashion. And since that's the path I've been on.
Do you have any family members that were in the fashion or creative industry? Or was
Absolutely not.
Or was this something, did you have role models, or how did you come about? Like, is it just something that you think you picked up through like TV and movies, or did you have sort of like someone in your life that kind of that you saw and was like, I want to do what they're doing?
That's a really great question. There was no one in particular that I really looked up to in fashion at that point. Okay. I just discovered, I love clothes.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, I love to draw.
Right.
I realized that I focus more on creating the outfits of my drawings than the actual, like, what's going on. So that was
So at what point, I don't know if you can kind of hone it down. Maybe you don't even have to hone it down to one instance, but at what point did you realize your creative talent for styling specifically? Because I think a lot of people, people have so many hobbies and interests, but it's really hard to be like, okay, this is something that not only am I good at, but then it's something that I want to pursue. Whereas, like, I like to cook, but I'm not going to go into cooking, and I like to day drink, but I'm not going to go day drink, right? So it's like, how did you know that, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to pursue?
Yes. So all my life, after I decided I want to be a fashion, I wanted to be a designer because that was the only career path that I knew as a young girl. And then I got into fashion school and I started doing internships and getting real life experience. Okay. And my first internship, it was at this huge company called BCBG.
Oh my God. I love that.
And they had everything in-house. And so that was my first introduction into styling. And I saw that they did these photo shoots, and I was just like, this is her job to dress models and be on photo shoots. That like, I want to do that. So that was really my first introduction into realizing I don't have to be a designer in order to be in the fashion industry. There's so many more paths. Like take, and styling was the one that just captured my heart.
Yeah, I think that's so awesome that you talked about internships, because it's not until you actually see other people doing it. Because sometimes there are jobs out there that you don't even know about, like crazy jobs that you would never think about. And it's like, someone gets paid to do this? Like, it almost sounds too good to be true.
Exactly.
So what about styling did you love about, like, what did you love about styling that you wanted to pursue it as a career?
Honestly, I just love that the clothes are already made and I didn't have to deal with manufacturer and sample maker. I just saw that the designers were always stressed out. And I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know?
Sorry, my girl gray hairs.
Like fight with the pattern maker. And all of that. So I saw that the styling clothes were already finished. They were just on the rack. You just had to put lips together. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I just didn't realize it was a career path.
Yeah. Okay. So you started at BCBG and then you ended up at Revolve. Was that like your last corporate job? Can you kind of walk us through how you landed to that next opportunity and how that led you into starting your own styling business?
Yeah. And so I was a huge fan of Revolve, and I discovered that they had an internship opportunity. So I pursued the internship. I let them know how passionate I was about it. And I ended up getting that internship after college, which I was a little hesitant because a lot of people don't want to intern after college. After you already got your bachelor's degree, but I did it. And they ended up hiring me on as a sample coordinator. And long story short, it didn't end up working out, and they let me go a little prematurely. And it was at that point where I was like, okay, I am so over doing all these interviews that aren't leading anywhere, dealing with inconsistent fashion companies, not Revolve, but other ones I had interviewed at. And I decided it was now or never in regards to pursuing my dream of being a fashion celebrity stylist, because at this point, I'm like 22, 23. I don't really have huge responsibilities. So I'm like, it's time to go.
It's time to do it. Yeah. Now, was this around COVID time that you kind of made this leap? Or what year was this that you made the leap?
This was 2017.
Okay, so before COVID.
Before COVID.
Nice. Yeah. So what was your, so you started the styling business, and how did you, what services do you provide as a stylist? Because you do more than just styling.
Yes. So as a stylist, I started out doing editorial photo shoots, so styling for magazines. And then quickly, I learned that you don't really get paid much doing that particular type of styling. So I gravitated towards celebrity styling, which is extremely fast-paced, but it's so worth it. It's really demanding, but it's more lucrative than editorial styling. And then I started doing jobs for the TV, film / space. She makes even more. And so I just kind of bounced around and discovered different types of styling.
That is so cool.
I highly suggest if you want to be a stylist. You don't know until you're actually in it.
Yeah, because even in styling, there's like wardrobe styling, or like I've seen that it's like image consultants as well. It's more than that. More than just styling. So you started the styling business. How did you brand yourself, and how did you land your first clients?
That's a really great question. I really have Instagram to thank, because social media really exposed me to a bunch of photographers and creatives who started reaching out to me. I would post my work. I would post BTS of me doing the job. And so they started saying, oh, she's stylist. I use hashtags to my advantage. And I would also cold reach out to people. I would say, hey, I love your work as a photographer. I would love to collaborate with you. And if they loved what I did, they would then call me for other jobs. And it just kind of opened the floodgate.
Yeah. So I want to revisit that, what you just said, because I think that is so key. So interesting. You didn't reach out to the celebrities themselves and was like, hey, let me style you. You reached out. You were more strategic than that. You were collaborative. And I think that is being collaborative and collaborating with other professionals in the industry that aren't directly competitors is the best way to start marketing and building that organic audience and creating content. So you reached out to photographers and not the stylists. So tell me why you did that.
So I just really, at that point, I was assisting, I was interning, and I wanted to build my own portfolio.
Right.
So that's when I started seeking out opportunities, and one thing led to another. For example, I also feel that having this confidence in yourself that's so unshakable, because looking back, I reached out to Draya Michele's photographer.
Yeah,
I had no business. If you put my portfolio at this point, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, hey, let's work. He gave me this opportunity. And now looking back at my work at that point, I was like, oh my God, like, so embarrassing.
But that is so awesome. Like, that is so cool. I mean, first, you're growing, so that's cool to look at. But the fact that, like, you were in a position where now you look back and you're like, what was I thinking? But, that you had the confidence, right? Sometimes you just got to go for it. Now, tell me about that instance working with Draya Michele. Like, was it for a certain kind of event? Like, how was that working with her?
Yeah, so it actually came about not from her photographer. Yeah. It was from another photographer.
Okay.
Reached out to me via Instagram DM, and we started out doing this photo shoot with Draya. It was a 70s style vibe, and meeting her for the first time, my mom was like, oh my God, you careful, because I never watched her reality show.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Basketball has so much drama.
Yeah, but I've heard something. Yeah. Going in, I was kind of like, I'll just approach it like any other client. And she is one of the most professional people, women that I've met.
Yeah.
She walked in, she knew exactly what she wanted. She had the vision for the shoot.
Right.
It was just flawless.
Yeah. I loved her on the show, and just in kind of like, just in general, and not that I watched the reality show like LA Basketball Wives like per episode, but the episodes that I did see, she, like, from the group of women, she's like the entrepreneur and like the most hated on, because she's like so put together, so like she has her shit together.
She does.
And it, like, I can definitely see how it can be intimidating to, like, I don't know, her peers and whatnot. But she is awesome, and that is so cool. And you also got to work with Lori Harvey, right? Steve Harvey's daughter. Do you mind just like kind of glimpsing how that opportunity came about, or how you made that opportunity, it sounds like?
So another photographer. Photographers are really, if you want to be a stylist,
contact photographers.
Photographers are the people. And they just asked if I wanted to work on the shoot. And it was way before she was popular, how she is now.
Right.
She was just signed to a new fashion modeling agency.
Okay.
And she was doing test shoots to build her portfolio. And I was building my portfolio. So we were both coming up at the same time.
Awesome.
And so amazing. She's super sweet and gorgeous in person.
I'm sure. That is so cool. I just love seeing how, like, you know what, you just went for it, and you're like, whether I feel ready or not, I'm doing this. And I'm also going to be just like really strategic about how I do things, like collaboration with photographers. I think that's genius. Because I think a lot of people would just go, like I said, directly to a source. And it's like some of this, I mean, I think with celebrities specifically, I don't even think that they run their own Instagram. They have PR people. And so the fact that you were strategic about it, you're like, I'm going to work with this photographer and see who they can connect us with. And at the very least, you have content, you build your portfolio. So that's so smart. And I would say that's a good tip for entrepreneurs looking to get started, whether it's styling or any other industry, right? It's like you always, have to find a way to collaborate with another brand that kind of, you guys both support each other, right? Because photographers need stylists and the clothes. They just know the camera, right? And the
photo. Of them are actually going out getting closer themselves. So as much as aspiring stylists are looking for photographers, they're looking for you.
Right. So that's awesome. Just got to really put yourself out there. So how long did you have this? I guess at what point did you realize, okay, it's time to do something different here, and let's talk about the course. At what point were you like, okay, I'm ready to kind of, how did the idea come about, I guess?
Yeah, so in addition to me posting my work on Instagram and getting traction from that and opportunities, I started getting messages from aspiring stylists. And it got to the point where so many people were asking me the same questions about how to break to the industry. I decided to create a blog about it, which turned into my company, Fashion Mentor.
Got it.
Within a year, I was like, the blog is cute, but I want to reach more people.
Right. Yeah.
And impact more people. So I started hosting in-person panels in LA, mixers, just so other creatives can mingle together. And I started getting messages from people who couldn't make it to LA.
Yeah.
And I thought, how can I reach them and teach them as well?
Right.
And that's when the idea for the course came about in August of 2018.
Wow.
And I launched it, and it has gone through iterations. I always make it a point to have the latest, most relevant information because fashion is always changing. The world is constantly changing. So I recently updated the course, completely re-recorded, and just teaching everyone all the things I wish I knew before I got into the industry.
Yeah. So you basically then you created this out of demand, because my next question was going to be, how did you know that there was a need for this course out there? And it sounds like it was based on the actual messages and questions you were getting.
Yes, absolutely. That and just, I think there's power in me being my target audience.
Right.
Millennials who want to break into the fashion industry know exactly where their mind is at, what questions they have. And that gave me such an advantage because I speak directly to them.
I want to talk about these mixers and these events that you're putting together. I think that's such a smart idea. Like, let's say that, for example, we're talking about other creatives that don't necessarily know what to include in a course. They know that there's questions. What did you learn from these mixers, or what did you take out of those?
I took out, honestly, it was something I already knew, but it was confirmed that there is not enough support for up-and-coming people in the fashion industry. It is very gate-kept. People don't want to share information.
Yeah, ding, 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 ding. Yeah.
There's a scarcity mindset throughout, I feel, all industries, honestly.
Right.
But especially in fashion, where people are like, I don't want to tell her where to get clothes.
Right.
She might, take a client, et cetera, et cetera. And I just genuinely want to help other people who are in the place that I once was.
Right.
I'm all about paying it forward.
Right. And with these mixers, did you generate any revenue at all, or was it more like a networking thing? Like, how did you pay for these mixers? How did you make money from these? Or did you even make money from these mixers?
So my very first mixer, 100 people showed up, which...
No, that's insane.
Yeah, but it was a free ticket. It was a free ticket.
Oh my God, 100 people? But that's amazing.
Thank you. The way that I put it together is by, again, the power of collaboration. I used a photo studio that a photographer friend owned. She let me use her space.
Yeah.
I had a friend who owns a wine business. She donated bottles. That's why they showed up. Right
now. In the line right now.
And I just called in favors from friends.
Yeah.
Panelists were my stylist peers. And it was just a huge collaborative.
Right.
And just so much support.
So I'm just absolutely drooling over your strategic, genius. I love that you did that. And the fact that you got 100 people to show up, even if it was free, to get people to show up is a hard thing, because people would rather be sitting on their couch watching Netflix. So how did you format these mixers? What was did you do a styling workshop, or was it more like a networking party, drinks kind of things?
Yes. So it was very much a networking style. I, of course, the wine. So everybody had a little loose.
Yeah.
Wine.
Right.
Get too lit off that.
Yeah.
It was more so a stylist panel in addition to networking. So I wanted to bring my stylist friends so they can have different perspectives. Because I could talk about my experiences and my knowledge on the face, but I want people to be able to resonate to someone who they gravitate more towards. If that's the case.
God, you are so smart. This is so smart. Okay, so now moving back to the course. So you created the course. How long did it take you to create the course the first time around?
So that event was in August, and I would say the course officially launched in October.
Okay.
So a couple months.
Yeah.
Just, oh my God, it's so cringe. It's me recording on my iPhone 6. Wow. And I literally had the ring light and just me recording.
Yeah.
I edited. Looking back, I'm like, this is insane. I edited it all on my phone and I uploaded it. And that the whole thing, it was very much grassroots.
Yeah. But so do you think that that's okay? So I think a lot of creatives or a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't do things because they feel like they need to be perfect, right? So they're like, oh, I don't have the right camera. I don't know how to edit. It just needs to be perfect otherwise, or they compare themselves to masterclass videos, which are high definition. Right. They have people work. So I think that's really important because, you look at it now and right, like you better your course is what you mentioned. You just re-recorded the content, but there's something to be said about just getting started. Now, do you think that maybe, okay, so you kind of, you learned how to edit it yourself and you used your iPhone 6. It probably wasn't like an HD $2,000, $5,000 camera. But do you really think that not having the optimal equipment really hindered your success? Or would you say that, do it anyway?
I feel like it pushed me more because when you do have the resources, you kind of aren't as driven to just make it as great as it is.
Yeah.
And there's this amazing book that I read called The Power of Broke. I don't know if you watch Shark Tank, but Damon John, founder of FUBU and other he wrote this book and he talked about how he started FUBU with a couple friends and a couple dollars. And because they had limited resources, like I did, they had to get extremely creative on how to make it what it became. And I feel like there is that power starting from the bottom because you're just driven.
Right. And then again, like that doesn't mean that it's your final product. Like you're always you're making it better. And I always say like just get it done. And I used to even like social media, I would not post certain things because like, oh, my hair isn't right. And now I'm like, just add a filter. Like add a makeup filter so it looks like I'm done up. Or sometimes like I don't even care anymore. Like I'm just like, whatever. But I think that it's important to note because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, again, they think that they need to be perfect. They think that they're not good enough, that they don't have the nicest camera, and they compare themselves to people with huge budgets and that have been doing whatever they're doing for years. So going back to the course, how did you know how to format the course? Like, what did you know? How did you know what to include? How to just put it together?
Honestly, I just took a bunch of the most common questions that I was receiving. Also content on the blog, expanding on those topics. And you said this earlier that people consume information in different ways. So videos and PowerPoints and ratings. So I wanted to make it mixed media just so people can not get bored of just watching 3 hours or however many hours it is. So I just wanted to make it really interactive and just share the information that was pertinent.
Are you an aspiring entrepreneur filled with creative talents or passionate about a certain subject and don't know how to monetize those talents? Then keep listening. So many aspiring entrepreneurs have so many talents, but they don't know where or how to start their business. They think it costs a lot of money or that it's too complicated and they never get started. But don't worry, girl, I got you. I have a solution for you to make money from your talents and knowledge anywhere in the world for a low startup cost. Let me introduce you to Teachable. Teachable is an online platform that allows you to easily create digital courses to sell online. Think masterclass, but instead you'll be the star and you'll be pulling in sales. Teachable is awesome because you can create courses with ease. You can start creating your course online quickly with their intuitive drag and drop builder. You can start selling in minutes. You can start right away with their fully built-in customizable sales page builder. Then your customers and students can check out because it has amazing e-commerce capabilities, so you can get paid quickly. You can also extend the power of the platform by connecting with tools that you already use, things like Zapier, Google, Analytics, and more. And last, you can optimize student engagement by including things like comments, quizzes, and certifications to drive even more student engagement. Use my code teachable.sjv.io/quityourjob or use the link in the show notes to get started for free and get a discount on premium plans. Now, let's get back to the show. So to talk more about the course for those interested in learning more about styling and moving into a styling career, what does your course teach them?
So the course teaches you everything from A to Z on how to become a successful fashion or celebrity stylist. So it is such a unique part. We spoke about how there's different types of styling.
Yeah.
So it's geared more towards you if you want to do fashion, editorial, celebrity styling, TV and film styling, not so much personal styling. But I teach everything from how to get clothes to how to create a mood board, fashion history, which is important to know your references, as well as the more practical things like networking, setting smart goals, how to actually reach out to people.
Yeah.
You know, like we said, I didn't reach out to celebrities. I reached out to their publicists. So that's something that you wouldn't know if somebody told you. So you spilling the tea.
Right. So Brittany, how do you know to do all this? Like, I feel like you're a natural born entrepreneur and maybe you're just born with it, like, honestly, but like, I'm listening to you talking. You're just like, so it's almost like, I don't know. How did you know how to do all this? And like this entrepreneurial spirit, do you think that you were born with that? Or you think that like, because, you know, you realize that you reached a point in your career where you didn't want to work for these, you know,
crazy
people, expensive brands that were all over the place. And then you kind of learn from that? Or like, is it a muscle? Or do you think you just have it in you? Like it's always been in you?
I do feel like it's definitely been in me. I've always been sort of an entrepreneur. When I was in middle school or high school, I used to sell like hot Cheetos.
Oh my God.
And chocolate bars. Like,
you would have been my favorite person in high school.
But I kind of from there, and I always thought about different ways I could help people.
Yeah. And again, you don't have any entrepreneurs in your family?
My dad is an entrepreneur, but that's about it.
Yeah. No, that's so awesome. I just feel like what you're, like the things that you've done, they're so smart, so strategic that I just feel like people have to work or try to figure things out for years before they come up with these ideas. Or like, I get a lot of ideas when I buy other courses on like how to do X, Y, and Z, and they tell you, and I'm like, oh, so that's how you do it. But I think it's just like really amazing how like you kind of just have this, I would say natural instinct, but it's like in you, and you're just like really smart and strategic about it. So that's really amazing.
I do want to say, if I can, I'm all about not comparing yourself to people on social media, but what I would do is I would see other stylists and not really compare myself, but I'll say, oh, they've been in the industry for 5 years and they're still doing shoots for magazines that I know don't have a budget. So I don't want to be in that position in 5 years. So what I'm going to do is kind of pivot. So I've always been good at seeing what other people and kind of like diverting something different.
Yeah, not following what everyone else is doing. Yeah, no, that's really, I love that. And I think that's that's what's made you successful is like you find other ways to go around, like that in like a very smart, strategic way. And that's amazing. And so for the course, how do you get your clients onto the course? Like, do you have people that just find you through SEO, or do you have like ads or leads, or how do you get those leads?
Yeah, so social media is huge. We talked about that, but primarily what I like to do is give people value through a free webinar, free class. So that's been my typical launch method. Is hosting a free class, getting a bunch of people in the room just so they could get a taste of what I have to offer.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people claiming to be experts online, not just in fashion, but in any industry. So I like to give you that information for free, and then I upsell at the end of the webinar. And I say, if you want to learn more, because I only have you for an hour or you can join me in this course.
Right.
That's how I get most.
That's so smart. And so what is the format of these webinars? Do you do them in person? Do you do them online? And I know like you travel sometimes, right? Like if you're traveling here, I know you just did one yesterday.
Yeah.
So is it like in person, or is it more online? What's the format for those?
So I used to do more in person, but of course after COVID, being more conscious. So I do the majority of them online, and then it's just easier also to reach in different countries online. So I do also host an annual Stylist Summit every year, though.
That's amazing. Where? You do it in LA?
LA, but my goal is to expand that and do like a tour of different places.
That's amazing. And is this summit just for your students, or do people can anyone just pay, or is it free, or how does it work?
Yeah, so it is a high ticket 3-day summit where you get hands-on experience. So we just hosted it in June of this year, a couple months ago.
Okay.
And I don't know when this is going to air.
Yeah.
But I brought in a model, I brought in photographers, and so I could learn how to do a fitting on the model. They learn how to dress a model on set within a certain time frame, because when you're working on a TV set or on a photo set, you don't have all day to but you have to really get on it. So just teaching them stylist boot camp, essentially.
So it's like an in-person. Wow, that's so smart. And that's such a good way to like add on, because again, people learn differently, right? Yes. So like you might have someone who passed the course, but then also it's one thing to learn, but then also to apply and get guidance as you're applying those skills. That is, girl, I'm getting so many ideas. I don't have a podcast coming.
No, I feel like everyone express themselves through the
right. Yeah, that is so cool. So tell me more about like what kind of tools did you use to create the course? You know, for our listeners who have these creative talents and they perhaps want to start a course or they want to explore the idea, what kind of tools did you use? So you mentioned iPhone 6. I have to be an iPhone 6. Yeah, right? Exactly. If it ain't like big pixels, it ain't worth it. No.
If it ain't great, yeah. But no, I use this platform called Teachable.
Okay.
They have different ones. I also know of Kajabi, which is another platform. But Teachable is the one that I've stuck with, and it's just been great for me.
Yeah.
But of course, do what works best for you.
Yeah.
And they make it so easy to upload videos, have quizzes to at the end of the course, track our students' activities to make sure that they're turning in assignments. So that's just what's been working.
Yeah. And tell me, you said you almost taught yourself editing in the beginning. What did you use? Did you use like GarageBand or like iMovie or?
Yeah, girl, can I tell you, my laptop was ancient before I
did it sound like a vacuum when it went on? Like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. I gotta.
And you can hear that in my first video. So, started my
silent cleaning lady here.
What is just my computer?
Yeah.
But no, I literally edited on this app called InShot on the phone.
That's crazy. I think you've mastered also the art of simplicity. Like, don't get all crazy with it. Don't like...
Oh, yeah. You don't have to do the most.
Yeah. Okay. So what have been some of the benefits of having this course, right? Like that you've realized beyond just like what the selling services that you provide?
Yeah. So one of the big benefits is being able to create passive income. And what that is creating income.
I love that.
Go out and work. Because as a stylist, honestly, one, people don't talk about this, but there are periods of time where you're not getting booked. That's like a huge thing in the styling and creative world where it's like, what happened? But also, sometimes you might be exhausted. Styling is a physical job that people don't realize. I'm driving around LA traffic all day. I'm lugging my body weight and clothes.
Right.
And sometimes you just need a break from that.
Right.
And in addition to that, I just love being able to share my knowledge. So it's a combination of those three things.
That's awesome.
And being able to take a step back, enjoy life, enjoy the fruits of my labor, and not just be running around like a chicken.
Yeah. No, I love that. And so of course, like creating the course does take some time. Like initially, it's one of those things where you record, right? You invest time up front, and then the rest, it's like more passive. But how much of your time do you actually spend now actively, now that your course is recorded? How much of your time does it take now to just kind of like sustain it and have it keep going like live and, enrolling new students? How much of your time do you put into it now?
So thankfully, I've grown from the iPhone 6 days. I've been able to hire a virtual assistant. I've been able to hire someone to work on Facebook and Instagram ads for me.
Okay.
I'm super grateful because at first I was doing that, event planning, social media, all of that. And now I have a team of people who support me in promoting.
That's awesome. Okay. So really you almost like it is the idea of like the definition of passive income. Yeah. It's like, so you're probably on a beach or drinking champagne Sunday brunch and you can get a sale.
Literally.
That's amazing.
This morning and I saw PayPal. I was like,
Do you think that you're, I guess with this, do you think that this changes like the vision of your business that you have? Do you think that you would gravitate towards just digital, or do you think that you'll still have that, personal aspect with celebrities and other things? Like, has the course changed the trajectory and vision of your business?
Oh, absolutely. It has, but there is just a part of me that always wants to keep the in-person element.
Okay.
So I'm always going to do the Stylist Summit. I'm always going to try to collaborate with other creatives and host panels and mixers, because we saw in 2020, nothing is going to ever replace the human element of connection. And so, yes, the virtual is huge, and a huge component of my business now, but I'm always going to make time.
I love that. And I love that it's good. It's on your terms, right? Like if you want, I mean, you can take on another client. If you don't have to, right?
And gives you choice.
Right.
Because I remember when I was first coming up as a stylist, I would take the most random jobs just so I could get the money. And that never really feels good at the end of the day. So now being able to have that freedom of being picky, great.
But it's also like you're protecting your own energy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I don't know how much styling pays, but it's like when you consider in gas, right? Your lunch, the physical time that it takes you, the exhaustion, sometimes the clothes, maybe you have to borrow them. I don't know if you rent them or purchase them. Like at the end of the day, it's like, is it even worth?
How much are you left over?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. So, okay. So if you, I guess from your experience, if there are other creatives listening to this, who have other creative talents, of say that you have a fashion designer or even a fashion stylist or someone that like, you know, maybe does voiceover or sings or is an artist, what are some ways that they could monetize on those creative talents, kind of like you did?
I say 1,000% launch a course, because no matter what niche or level or type of styling, not just styling, but fashion and creative industry you're a part of, there's somebody out there who wants to learn how to do what you do. And our course is the quickest, easiest, most efficient way to do that.
So then you would recommend, okay, at least start with how did you learn what you're doing, how you can teach that to others. Now, I think so. I just want to talk about this because I love how you said that you don't compare yourself to other people. What would you say to people that are like, well, why would you teach other people how to do what you do and then create more competitors for yourself?
That's an excellent question. And honestly, I don't see it that way. Like I just genuinely believe that there is enough room for everybody, because I've witnessed it myself. And that's one of the reasons why I created my course, so I could train people who can take jobs that I might not have time for. Maybe I'm hooked on another job and I could send somebody and refer them knowing that they won't embarrass me.
Oh,
And them. So it's all about helping and just being that person that you wish you have when you first started out.
I love that, because it's like, you know, I think a lot of people that think that way have a scarcity mindset where they think that like, okay, so, you know, I have to be the only one, but it's like, you can't service the entire industry. Styling, you can't service everyone. And also, you know, like you mentioned in your summit, you have different stylists that come as part of your panel, because not everyone is going to click with you, and that's okay, right? Like some people are a little bit more serious, some people are more conservative, some people are more like, I don't know, kind of like laid back, and they'll like resonate with those people more. And also it's like, you probably don't want to work with people that, you know, that you don't get along with, or, you know, you don't want terrible clients either. So they need to have another outlet or another source. So,
I mean, like you said, I can't be everywhere at once. So if I can't make an opportunity, then I definitely want to provide that. It could be life-changing to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So for creatives listening right now, what would be some tips that you would give them for them to start their course?
I would say just do a brain dump on paper.
Okay.
Because I find that a lot of people, once they put their idea to paper, they kind of get stuck in thinking, oh my God, this has to be a perfect format. I literally like write whatever comes to mind and organize it later.
Yeah.
So just dump all your ideas on paper, and then you can like put it into a Google Doc and organize it.
I love that.
Art, because people have this analysis paralysis,
I
like to call it.
Yeah.
And they just freak themselves out, and they psych themselves out thinking, oh my God, it has to be perfect, but it doesn't.
Right.
Just start.
Yeah. Just even if you have an iPhone 6. No, I love that, because it shows like, you know what, just start with what you got. Just start. And then look at you now. You said you recorded your course, right? And did you like upgrade the equipment, or did you have a bigger budget for the course?
I have an iPhone 11. No, I actually hired a business coach, and she was the one that encouraged me.
So great.
Thank you, to do that. And so I re-recorded it with better equipment. I have iMovie now. And I also have my VA edit it.
That's awesome. So you're not spending time editing the tedious video. That's awesome. Well, congrats on doing all of that and creating this like 2.0, right? Fashion styling course.
Yes.
So, okay. So kind of to wrap up, you know, I always like to end the podcast with What are some, maybe one or two, right? And this is more beyond the course. What are some actionable steps, right, that people can do? People who are listening, our listeners are perhaps in a role that working their 9-to-5 jobs and they don't necessarily feel fulfilled. They kind of feel stuck. They want to make that leap. They don't know how. So this is more so in terms of like leaning kind of career, like corporate, like you did, and then, making that leap into starting their business. What tips or actionable advice would you give them to actually make that leap, to actually give them the courage to be like, you know what, it's okay. You can do what you love. That idea, it's not that crazy. Just, go for it.
First thing I would say is use your network. You never know, by speaking your goals into existence, you never know who is listening or who can connect you to the right person. So don't be afraid to speak about your goals. I'm all about manifestation and love. I'm huge on those things. So when you speak it, that's when it starts to become real. And also setting smart goals. So I'm a huge fan of reverse engineering my goals. I write down the goal. And so many people get overwhelmed at the thought of being a celebrity stylist or leaving their corporate job, that safety net. So write down what your big goal is, but break it down into smaller steps. What can you do in 3 months? What can you do in 6 months until you feel like, okay, it's time for me to let go. So really creating a plan for yourself. I know a popular sentiment on social media is just quit your job, but I never tell anybody that. I say you have money that's coming from your job to fund your dream so you can fully leave.
Because there's always, there has to be a smart plan for it to be successful. Otherwise, I feel like if you just quit with no plan, like, sure, it can work out, but then you're just going to be stressed out. And that's not a way that you don't want to start that way. Because then you're more stressed out about making money, paying your rent, paying your bills than you are on building a business. And then you give off that desperate vibe, and people don't like desperate vibes. So Brittany, how can people find you? How can they get in touch with you, follow your journey, learn more about you?
So connect with me on social media. I'm on Instagram at Brittany Diego. Brittany spelled Brittany, Diego. I'm also on LinkedIn. Connect with me on there. Shoot me a message if there's anything I could help you with.
She responds.
I do respond. That's how we link up. And if I can help point you in the right direction, then I will be glad to do so.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brittany, for being here. And I hope you guys really enjoyed listening. Brittany, she has so many nuggets in here. I feel like I need to get her back on here and talk about like networking and collaboration. But I hope you guys enjoyed Brittany's learning about her experience, how she created the course. And I hope this kind of inspires you. If you are creative, looking to monetize your talents, a course may not be a bad option. So until next time, make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. And I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you found this episode inspiring. I know getting started with your entrepreneurial journey can seem like a big task, but I am here to help you. I created a free guide with actionable steps on how to get started. Click on the link in the show notes and drop your name and email to have it delivered straight to your inbox. Have a beautiful day.